Fortunately, true to their words, my parents saw to me getting my phone replaced. Ended up being dad again. Apparently, they flipped a coin for the privilege again, too. My parents are goofy as hell, but I was growing to like it a lot. The transfer of data and applications went without a hitch. Why don't you get the fucking screen replaced, man? That. No, I didn't know one. And I was the brand new owner of an identical replacement of the phone that was brand new 2 weeks ago. Like, why did you break it at this point? Nothing happened. This breakage was irrelevant other than getting him a little extra data time, I guess. The expression of the sales rep absolutely read as, "Be more careful next time." Sure, pal, I'll be extra special sure not to have my phone launched when someone else bodies me into the floor next time. Dad's staying home with me after that, and we ordered takeout. Mom didn't get back until late. She looked exhausted but had a triumphant smile to her. Whatever was happening at work went well, I guess. I wasn't a fan of the partial return to the status quo, but I felt close enough to my parents and now that I could feel pleased seeing them proud of their work. One step at a time. Got my drawing tablet, but I couldn't bring myself to do anything other than get it set up. I was excited, certainly, but the looming specter of talking to Olivia clouded my head to the point that I couldn't focus on art. I wasn't sure what artist block was, but I really hope they find a cure someday. It's stressful as hell. So, the cure for artist block is to keep fucking going and find what works. You gotta keep grasping at the dark until you find a leak in the dam to bring it down, buddy. Otherwise, you can always take a break, do something new, try something different. Take your mind off. Because the mind loves being told that it can't do something. You gotta be serious about it, though. Morning came and Mom and Dad were already gone. I sighed. Followed my old routine and boarded the metro. No Mr. Ferris to make small talk to, or even risk maybe asking for advice on Olivia, too. I couldn't tell if that was a good thing or not. My head was too jumbled up. School began. Gym went without a hitch. While participating was mandatory, I didn't want to go completely soft. While the rest of the students were doing the usual sprints, I managed to talk Coach Conley, at least letting me walk the laps. He gave me a stern look once over and followed with a smirk. He approved. Damien, without having to worry about bitching me out front of the pack. Oh yeah, that is mentioned in the first one. I mean, I'd like to point out that I had a Nokia brick for a while until someone told me, buddy, your phone ain't gonna work on the network soon. You need to get a smartphone. Then I got one. I barely use this thing for anything. Like, it's a browser, maybe YouTube, some Duolingo, but do I do anything fancy with it? No, I don't play games on it. It doesn't do anything fun. It's two-factor authentication, Which apparently, someone told me is like cracked as hell, because like the phone network's stupid as an idiot. So hey, use the app, not the SMS or something. I don't fucking know. Damien, without having to worry about me bitching up the front of the pack, absolutely crushed everyone else in his runtime. He'd pause periodically as he lapped me to give me a goofy smile and a double thumbs up before I'd shoo him to keep running so Solly wouldn't bring down the hammer. Gym was a lot less stressful now that there was a mirror-shaped hole in the roster. What a hole! Class ended and we hit the shower and broke away. I navigated Yadakan's classroom and hand hovered over the handle. Alright, Inco. Fortress Olivia. The worst thing she can do is literally kill you. It's not so bad. I've seen worse. Empty classrooms. That admittedly wasn't that funny. I opened the door and sure enough, the green baryonyx girl was seated in her usual spot at the front. As the door opened, she reflexively turned her head and our eyes met. God, I missed seeing her eyes. The silver pools were backed by the same yellow sclera as always. She was wearing her normal pattern. Dark jeans, slippers, black shirt with her favorite purple hoodie. Her hair was a little longer. The bags under her eyes were still there. As I discerned her, she returned to the gesture. Subtle tweaks in her eyes and brow. Her lips curled towards a snarl, but never made it quite that far. Whatever mental battle she was fighting with herself over seeing me again, eventually one side or the other won out, and her face returned to resting on a neutral expression. She then returned her focus back to the front of class. Took that as a sign that I passed some initial validation check, and took my usual seat next to her. I could feel her tense up slightly, but I let the situation sit for now. When she realized I wasn't immediately going to start accosting her, she loosened, if only slightly. Class began. The sub continued without as much as a horrid bore she'd been before. I know I wasn't supposed to, but honestly, if I didn't do something, I'd certainly fall asleep in class and get in trouble anyway. Pulled out my phone and using the stylus, scrawled out a note and flashed it up to Olivia. What's up? She read the message and returned her focus to the front of class, but her arms began to move, opening the notebook and scrawled out of her own. Not much. You look like you almost died. A small bit of a smirk tugged at my face. Her expression remained a practiced neutral. Almost did, I replied, trying to find a spot of levity. A brow tweaked and a frown formed. Ooh, that's a good one. She looked down and stared at her desk. Fuck, wrong thing today. But I'm doing all right now, I hastily scrawled. The Castle Olivia long... Again, she read the note, but the soft, saddened expression held. Her eyes drifted to the neck brace. I hate my neck brace. Hey, the doc's forcing me to wear it. Hasn't heard it all for a week now. It was a lie, of course, but she didn't need to know that at the moment. She raised her claw to the base for a moment before jotting down a response. Just... sorry. That was the end of the conversation for the rest of the period. Could have gone worse, but could have gone better. Class ended. Olivia had wheeled herself out early, as she had always done, and I expected not to see her until the cafeteria. To my surprise, however, she was waiting in the hall. You want to roll with me? She asked. I nodded. We walked to the elevator. Olivia tapped the call button, which immediately opened the door. I slipped in alongside her, as I'd often done in the first semester. She reached into her pocket for the key, but I produced my own and inserted it into the slot, and pressed the first floor button for her. I thought you needed the key to open the door. No, it's just mix. Let's play 8-ball. I mean, he's got the head for an 8-ball. Just give him a polish. And with the brain damage, he has space for it, too. It's terrible. She shot me a quizzical look. That was probably the best time to pull this particular band-aid off when we were alone. I garbled out. The usual pattern. Brow furrowed, eye stared, wheels turned, and then the look of horror settled on her face. Inco. I shook my head and pulled out my phone. It is fine. I get by. On the plus side, I am medically justified to use my phone in class. My TTS voice explained as I gave a smile. Did you smile a smile, or did you breast a boobily? Her face contorted into a forced one as she played with her claws, and we waited for the rickety elevator to settle, hitting the ground floor. That joke didn't land either. Crap. The only option I had was just trying to establish some level of normalcy. The elevator dinged and the doors opened. I pulled out my key before she could wheel forward. I stepped partway out into the hall and swung my arms and bowed low, as if ushering her from a limousine. I stole a glance at her, and I could see the barest flicker of a smile. Okay, that was something. Dear God, Inco, you sound like Charlie Brown's parents? I don't know that show, I'm sorry. Is it like Cow and Chicken, like the parents are obfuscated, in this case their voices are garbled or something? Fair enough if they do. I like that stuff. I really like that in Cow and Chicken you never see them above the waist. It's just fucking marvelous. I love it, okay? I just love dumb shit like that. You can wake me up at 4 a.m. for it! 4 a.m. Can you imagine waking up at 4 a.m. and someone tells you some dumb bullshit trivia you didn't care about before, but now you do? Small price to pay for a froggy chair? Come on, I will treat us to the best junk food vending machines can offer, like usual, my digital voice droned. The smile faded at hearing it, but she didn't look quite as disturbed as before. It's okay, Olivia. Just treat me normally. As long as I don't out myself, I'm normal like you. As long as I don't out myself, I'm normal like you! My conversation with Ben popped into my head, and I suppressed the frown that tried to follow it. Yeah, we're the same. I got it. We got to the cafeteria, but there was no playful bowling over of other students using Olivia as a battering ram. I didn't dare overstep our bounds. As she wheeled to her usual spot, I accumulated the junk food fit for a king. A pile of junk food fit for a king. I laid out the spread on the table as usual, and everyone grabbed their cut, as was our custom. Olivia hesitated only for a moment before I gestured for her to partake as well. Oh yeah, Olivia isn't tardy at all. Like, Olivia never missed... She missed like a day, maybe two, right? Like, she actually got off way easier than that other ending. I think ending 3 is where it gets that bad, right? I don't know how to tell you, but oh no. Oh no! They're dead? Why is Charlie Brown so dark? It's fine, Olivia. It's normal. That seemed to settle her. She went about munching a bag of chips as usual. Damien was trying as hard as not to pop. In the season finale, it was revealed to parents it's just a cardboard cut out of legs, and it was Devil Guy. What? 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 That's a fucking... I have been plot twisted. I don't know if I'm strong enough for this, but it's time for some goofy school music. Because things are fine. Dude, how's it going? She said anything to you? I jotted down about how we had a brief conversation in art, and he aggressively said, she hasn't talked to you? His face fell with a disappointed look. Nah, man. She's grunted. Oh, wait. Who? Is he lying? Because Olivia did talk. Honestly, I'm gonna imagine this is like Damien saying, she hasn't talked, and Inco is like, hey, she hasn't talked to you? His face fell to a disappointed look. Nah, man. She grunted answers to Mom and Pop like she used to. What? Oh, shit. I might have dropped something. That's great. Good job, Safi. You're an artisanal man. Nah, man. She's grunted answers to Mom and Pop like she used to, but she doesn't even seem to acknowledge them real. Kinda hurts. I'll try and figure out what's up. Just sit tight, I note it down. Why are you writing? Oh, I guess it is lunch and they're pretty loud. Another furious nod before he let me return back. Olivia fired off one of her classic raised eyebrows at me before deciding that she didn't really care at all that much and returned to her chips. So, Liz, I used my Texas teacher to break the awkward silence. Yeah, it is an awkward silence to read someone's notes. Olivia tensed slightly at hearing it, but continued to snack. Yes, Inco? Olivia's head lowered from the leafy greens above. I'll always be amazed she can speak so clearly even when she has a mouthful of leaves. I got that drawing tablet. I haven't used it yet, but I got it set up. I want to give it a try tonight. Wait, I got that drawing tablet in. Haven't used it yet, but I got it set up. Want to use it tonight. My digital voice. Oh, wonderful. It worked great for me when I started out, and I'm sure it will great for you. If you have any questions about how to use it, feel free to ask. She returned with a pleased smile. In my periphery, I noticed that Olivia's eyes widened slightly. She obviously did not start doodling in the group chat, but committing to some real, actual piece of art equipment was a novel step. One she didn't actually really anticipate, clearly. In fairness, I didn't anticipate until yesterday either. No one's anticipating shit. So, yo, Inky, you gonna do digital art like Liz? Not quite the same. I want to look into sketches. She recommended me a good drawing tablet to get started. So, you're not gonna get a new camera? His voice started... You're not gonna get a new camera? His voice started with the usual energy, but stumbled before the end, realizing it may have been a bad question to ask. Liz, feeling the awkwardness of the new twist, hoisted her head back into the rafters, completely dodging this part of the conversation entirely. I can't blame her, but she was a traitor. Because Damien looked pained. Wow, great girlfriend you got, buddy. Olivia, though, had a neutral expression, but was staring a hole through me. She either stopped eating her chips. She had stopped eating her chips and was waiting what the answer was. I didn't dare look her way. No, I've been considering for the past weeks, and I don't think I'll do photography anymore. I see. That's all Damien could manage. I've turned my focus to Olivia without turning my head to see her reaction. She looked... sad? It is fine though. I have been having a lot of fun doing the doodles. It is easier to do whenever as opposed to needing to haul a camera and lenses everywhere. I tried to redirect. Damien's furious nod and returned, like he was trying to agree to the point for everyone. Olivia's downcast expression returned to her chips before crushing up the bag and just leaving. I turned to watch her leave as she wheeled herself out of the cafeteria. Yeah, man, it's just like the first lunch. I let out a sigh. Not how I was hoping that would go. Sorry, man, I wasn't thinking. I shouldn't have brought it up. I waved him off. You didn't mean anything by it. The subject is going to be sensitive for a while. My dismissal didn't really seem to make him feel any better. Obviously, he'd noted, wink, the especially cold reception Olivia had been giving him. So, her leaving when she brought up a sore subject was probably extra unpleasant. We'll figure it out, Damien, I told him. Next, photography. I wish I could swap classes, but it was the second semester now. I'd be too far behind on lessons for a different class. I was consigned to sit through a class on a subject that I had no interest in trying again. I spent the period taking notes on my phone, by which I mean I just doodled. The substitute teacher saw me in an annoyed gland periodically, but you couldn't really say anything about my phone use unless it was apparent I was doing something I shouldn't. Kinda should be, but whatever. I also noted Ben's absence. I hadn't figured he'd try to track me down during lunch or anything when I got back, but I'd at least expect him to show up to class. We didn't part on the best of terms on Monday, but I felt that we'd reached some level of understanding of one another at least. I weighed sending him a message, but thought better of it. If he was in a bad enough mood to skip class, Mr. Student Council Pres himself, the last thing he'd want to deal with was me badgering him. Anaconda neck hugs sound good. Good question. I know someone who really likes big tails and designs. Which is to say, tail slut, and I am gonna shame them for having such tastes. I will point and laugh. Robert Kurtz put Disco Elysium on the Internet Archive. Ballsy, but the most ethical way to play the game, as it was in fact stolen. You can get Disco Elysium for free! What? I like this man. I like this ballsy man. For one, I like historical preservation. For two, stick it to the man, brother! I want to give him a high five. If I ever meet this man, I won't know it's him, but I'll give him a high five in spirit. Like Street Pass! Class ended on to history. You're getting a little granular here, but it's fair, because this is kind of important. I really like that we're establishing Inco is kind of Ben's missing. It's just, this is nice and terse. This is just what we need. Like, fuck, man! Brevity is the soul of wit, and half a page of goodness. Just watch me. Delicious. On the history. I got in the class, and Olivia was already on the spot. As I entered, she stole a glance back at me, and I gave her a nod of response. After another moment of maintaining the stare, she gave me a slow nod herself and returned her focus to her book. We didn't exchange any notes. Class passed as boringly as Mrs. Procklin could make it. I think it's just Miss Procklin because it's not Mrs. I focused mainly on Olivia for the duration of it. She didn't try any glances after that first one. She just huddled over and focused inward. It's almost like the time when she was beating herself up over the art contest. Pay me to see. Class neared its conclusion and Olivia was let out early. She stole a glance at me again just before exiting the room, which I returned as usual, as before. Well, if I was lucky, she'd be waiting for me outside of school and we could talk then. School concluded, and I went out as I usually did. To my surprise, she was out there waiting for me. I approached her quickly, but cautiously. I didn't want to spook her. I didn't want her to think of the stairs again. You're not Anon. Don't worry about the bollards. Hey, my text-to-feed voice said. She flinched before turning to face me. Hey. We waited there in the cold air for a moment in silence. Clouds of our warm breath dancing on the wind. I think we need to talk. I would say it's the closest to a Rorschach test. Disco Elysium has been recommended and talked to me by so many people. One day I'll play it, probably at gunpoint. That gun being a nice crisp two $50 bills. Don't bring your Benjamins. I want those grants. I want 2 transactions so YouTube can eat the transaction fees. Just so... I could hear her swallow, a hand shoved into a hoodie pocket, but I could tell by the movement that she was wriggling her hands out of stress. Get that woman a fidget spinner, or cube, or associated toy. After a moment, she nodded. She still wasn't looking my way. So, I was... No, wait, she said, cutting me off. Well, she tried to, but the next text-to-speech voice finished what I typed in. So, I wanted to apologize to you. Her head whipped around so fast, I was afraid that she would need the neck brace. What for? What for? It wasn't the reaction I was expecting. Her face contorted, filled with sorrow, like the words of it. Oh, wait, we need a tense song. Fuck it, we're going whole hog. No, let's go with the more modest one. Her face was contorted, filled with sorrow. Like the words had been a slap across the face. I stared at her for a moment, confused what this conversation was spinning to. Ugh. Look, let's find a place we can sit down for a bit, somewhere that isn't cold. Now her face tightened into an annoyed frown, and she replied with a huff, "Fine." I gestured her towards the metro, and she followed suit. I had contemplated going to a restaurant or something, but that was likely to be inbound. But what was likely to be inbound was a private affair, one involving tears and shouting, and last 2 weeks were any indication. Fuck! My place okay? My place okay? It is quiet. I have snacks. Sure. She wheeled to the designated spot and flipped the collapsible seat up. I took a seat next to her. The trip went by in silence. We reached our stop and Olivia followed me off. We continued in silence down the street until we reached my place. Not a word needed to be said, and she still remembered where I lived. No car in the driveway and no sign that it had been stashed in the garage. Good. Mom and Dad were still at work. Felt almost alien to be happy about, but right now me and Olivia need some privacy for what came next, and I didn't need them interrupting anything. I opened the door and held it wide as she wheeled herself into the living room. I pulled out a few odd snacks Mom had restocked the pantry with, and some soda from the fridge, and laid them out on the table in the living room. I moved to a piece of the sectional couch to give Olivia a seat. I moved the sectional piece of the couch to give Olivia some space to seat her wheelchair more comfortably, but she stayed put. All right. I took my place on the couch. Her face told me that she wanted to go first. I squinted in frustration, flicking to me. Her tail whipped back and forth. I whipped my tail back and forth. After a minute of contemplation, she began. Why do you think you need to apologize to me? I wasn't dumbstruck by the question this time, as it was obvious what we were going to return to, but I was certainly perplexed by it. Why wouldn't I? Olivia... Why wouldn't I? Olivia, I helped destroy your self-confidence, hurt your connection to your family. They are not my family, you swit! She snarled, sharp teeth on full display. Inco, why do you keep changing the TTS language? Hold on. Hold on. Fuck it. Fuck it. You want this? You want this? It's yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rubies. Ilia artormente te entregue a ben I mia. Y casi hike que te mataran. Fuck it. That's what you get, jackass. That's what you get. What you see is what you get with WYSIWYG. That's such a lame line, and that's why I'm keeping it. It's mine. And it can be yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rubies. The spirit of capitalism is rich in this man. Now, the free market, technically. Listen, I'm all for calling everything capitalism, but at least use it at the right times. Waggles my finger. It's not all capitalism by definition. Her eyes squeak. I tormented you and you gave up to Ben and Mia. I almost got you killed. My text-to-speech voice finished. Her eyes squeezed shut at that last part. Her fangs were still exposed, but her eyebrows turned up. Her expression going from anger to agony. No, I did that myself. You were just trying to help. You didn't mean anything, but I acted like a child. Olivia! I'm sorry, Inco. You're right about everything. You did so much for me, and I kept acting like a spoiled child. I kept slapping your help away. When you tried to hug me and make me feel better, I let my anger get the better of me, and I pushed you away. You had to save me from myself. I mean, yeah, we are playing a caveman game. Women aren't allowed to have shit. That's a little harsh, Inco. Sorry, I watched too many leftist videos today, and I'm feeling a little bit like anarchy. Wanna go throw some Molotov cocktails at the police station? Yeah, that sounds like a great... Oh, and then they take out super expensive wine, and it barely works because it's too low alcohol to actually work as a Molotov. And the cops just laugh at him. Oh, this rich kid doesn't even know how to blow up a police station. She brought her head up. I recognized that face. I remembered it perfectly. It was when she was crying after I found her in the rain. On the day of announcing the finalists of the art concerts. Tears rolled down her face freely. Hold on, we need something tighter. Things are tough. I stood and moved in front of her. She flinched, but didn't resist. I reached out, and after only a moment of hesitation, grabbed both of her hands in my own. I garbled out her name. I did that to you! I did that to you! It's all my fault. She barely managed out through her sobs. Her head drooped down, and I raised myself slightly. I slipped my hands around her back and behind her neck and pulled her into my embrace. She didn't resist this time. This time was different. Old Inco shining through. This wasn't me being a self-serving ass that couldn't see what harm he was doing. It wasn't me being a socially maladjusted cancer on his friend group. It wasn't me being a psychological abuser of his girlfriend. The title rank shows up in the middle of their vision. Ripley Aaron, patriarch of the Aaron family, and his fucking jacket flies off, and Inco's like, shit, I should have listened to that weird guy with the afro. I should have joined his party. I haven't even played Like a Dragon, but man, do I like everything I see of it. Just like Yakuza. Just got that joie de vivre. Zero shits given. Maximum energy. Let's become pirates! Shit, man. It was a new Inco. Trying to give comfort to a girl that time and time again had been beaten down by the world around her. I was all cried out from the last 2 weeks. I wasn't sure I'd be restocked anytime soon, but the urge to weep with her was there. Her snout was laid over my shoulder, her arms limp in her lap. She cried openly, with her tears wetting my own cheek. Damn, dude. The mainline Super Mario game is any game for which Shigeru Miyamoto is credited as director. Donkey Kong 1981, Donkey Kong 1982, Junior, 1982, Mario Bros 1983, Donkey Kong 3 1983, Baseball 1983, Tennis 1984, Wild Gunman 1984, Duck Hunt 1984, Golf 1984, Hulkins Alley 1984, Devil World 1984, Excite Bike 1984, Kung Fu 1985, Super Mario Bros 1985, The Legend of Zelda 1986, Super Mario Bros Lost Levels 1986, Super Mario Bros 3 1988, Super Mario Bros 64 1996, Star Fox Zero 2016, Super Mario Run 2016, and Nintendo World 2021. I mean, that sounds like the mainline Nintendo games for Mario to me. I'm pretty sure that's all the Mario you need. I love that someone's response is like, make a long video out of it, because they think that Jan Mussolini guy did it. I wonder if he's Dutch, because Jan is such a Dutch name. Just a boring plushie can't be that powerful. I'm sorry, someone is posting some shit at me and I'm very confused by it. Hold up, sorry. There's a minor thing going on. And I don't know how to feel about it. Oh, shit. Enough of that. Let's get back to it. Okay, it was all cried out. The words weren't coherent, but hopefully the meaning was, as I whispered into her ear. I ran my head through her hair, anything I could do to bring this poor girl even a sliver of solace. I couldn't say how long we stayed like that. Even after the weeping ended and the tears stopped, I was scared to break away. It felt like doing so was like abandoning her again. Her shuddering breaths steadied. As she composed herself enough to control her breathing, she began to whisper apologies to me, answering my well wishes with her sorrows. I wasn't sure if it was going to be too forward, but it felt like releasing her was an even more treacherous option. All I'd done for this girl when she needed support was leaving her behind. She could be angry at me for this if she wanted. It was better than seeing her like this. Without pulling my head from hers, I shifted my angle and slipped my arm behind her head away. I looped it under her knees and with a bit of a grunt hoisted her from her wheelchair. Olivia's only reaction was to emit a small eep before she realized what I was doing. I lifted her fully and waddled my way over to the couch. My arms were burning, but I'd happily let my muscles explode if they let me keep control right now. Pivoted again and laid myself back onto the couch, Olivia curled against me. After I'd settled, she shimmied a little bit and adjusted her own. Took that as a sign that I did something right for her for once. She couldn't look at me still. Snout was draped on my shoulder, her arms thrown around my head. I reached into my pocket and acquired my phone. It's going to be a hell of a trick pulling off a conversation like this, but I wasn't about to let her slip away again. It was slow going, but I managed to get a rhythm of typing letters into my text-to-speech app with just my one thumb. I cued the message and looped my arm around her head so she could hear it. You didn't do anything to me, Olivia. I did this myself. I am at Eduardo. She sniffled and dug her head tighter against me. That's a lie. You saved me, she whispered. Even with her face against me, I could barely hear what she was saying. I did. I saved you from me. It was the only good thing I did tonight, and I'd do it again in an instant. She was out of tears, so her breath hitched again. I have failed you so many times, Olivia, but I would never let that happen to you. I have a lot to make up for, but if you are willing, I am willing to try. She held still for a moment before nodding, her snout rubbing up and down the side of my head. I let my typing arm rest, draping it across her back, and held her. There was more to say, a lot more, but for the moment this is what we needed, what she needed, and I would give it to her for as long as she wanted it.